10 years ago, on the 15th of September 2015, a game came out that changed the internet forever. 9 years ago, I became obsessed with that game. I devoured fan art, fanfic, and the fandom in general. 3 years ago, I actually played it for the first time. And when I played it, I swore to myself that I would never reset, would never play it again. I wanted to leave my characters to their happy ending. Few other games have done this to me, and those that have never done it as well as the one, the only, Undertale. Hello everyone, my name is Sylvia Flowers. If you're new here, welcome in. If you're not, then welcome back. So, I doubt that anyone would have clicked on this video if they didn't know what Undertale was, especially considering how significant it is, but if you're unfamiliar, here's a little rundown. Undertale came out in 2015, this RPG inspired by Earthbound where an entire civilization of monsters is trapped under a mountain and they can only be freed through the deaths of 7 humans. The player character, the 7th human to fall down here, falls into the underground, has this choice to befriend or kill all of the monsters, and then, depending on your choice, either frees them all and they live happily on the surface, or kills them all and wipes out the entire world. There's also the endings where you kill some monsters, leave, and you get a phone call about what life is like down there without the ones that you killed. It's a pretty short game, all things considered, clocking in at about 7 hours for a normal playthrough. This is bite-sized compared to its parallel story, Deltarune, which isn't even complete yet, but clocks in anywhere from 7 to 17 hours. So that's what Undertale is, at its core, but obviously it isn't just that. I am far from the first to make a retrospective on Undertale, and I can't in good faith say this is a retrospective either. Really, it's just a breakdown of all the things I love about Undertale, as much as I can fit into a video at least. I think the thing that drew people to Undertale was the kind of novel concept at the time. It was a game where you weren't supposed to get a good ending at first. You were meant to make mistakes. You were meant to get worried when you approached the good ending of the game with no levels in sight. It was meant to make the player kind of uncomfortable, even though the underground has since become a very homey place for many of us. It was interesting how everyone had a different interpretation of Undertale. Some people immediately trusted Toriel, others let Flowey influence their view of the underground. It was such a unique game because everyone approached it differently. Speaking of Flowey and Toriel, let's talk about Undertale's strong suit, characters! I honestly think that there are no bad characters in Undertale. Okay, maybe I dislike one of them, but I love almost every character in Undertale. Starting with Toriel, because I'll need a lot more time for Flowey, Toriel was the character I liked the most as a kid. She was kind, loving, protective, someone you were meant to look up to some degree. And I did! I was one of the kids who, the first time I tried to play Undertale but didn't finish it, refused to move forward when she left you alone. I really liked Toriel. Nowadays she's still really close to my heart, and her appearance in Deltarune is actually my favorite depiction of her despite her flaws. She's one of my biggest inspirations for my own characters actually, something you can see in my character Iris very clearly. Moving along chronologically, we have the fandom darlings, Sans and Papyrus. Honestly, I see why people love Sans and Papyrus so dearly, and frankly, Papyrus is still my favorite character in the whole game. Sans is interesting, funny, his design is iconic, and this is even leaving out his fight. One of my favorite songs in the whole game, not actually in the game, but from the soundtrack, is Song That Might Play When You Fight Sans. He's frankly a very goofy guy, and I have my gripes about how he was treated in the fandom, but the biggest one is how much of a disservice his character was done by his fight being spoiled for most everyone. If someone knows anything about Undertale, it's Megalovania. But Sans is so much more than just that. I'm just glad that seems to be more acknowledged in the recent fandom. But this isn't just about Sans, it's about Papyrus too. Papyrus is my favorite character, but surprisingly, it's hard to really pinpoint why. He has a lot of character, he's kind and optimistic, even if a little naive, but he's extremely capable. In the ending where he becomes king, he acknowledges the things that people underestimate about him, and it's great. His woobification in the early fandom was criminal, and I cannot be happier that the consensus now is that he's actually, a whole adult with his own capabilities. Then there's Undyne. Frankly, Undyne is one of the characters I think about less. She's incredibly well executed in game, don't get me wrong, the way she's set up compared to what you get to know her is impeccable. Really, she's such a good exploration into the themes of not judging a book by its cover, looking at what lies beneath, both when she interacts with the human and vice versa. I suppose I don't think about her as often, simply because she's not as present in the part of the game she's a looming threat for. I remember Waterfall much more clearly for its atmosphere, music, and peaceful presence. I still absolutely adore Undyne, not to mention her date and the Golden Flower Tea interaction. One of the many in Undertale that bring me to tears. She has some of the funniest bits in the game too. Honestly, her dates, both with the human and Alphys, are way more interesting to me than her chases, or even her fights. Speaking of Alphys, now it's her turn! Alphys got a really bad rep in the fandom, but I always really liked her. Her nervous mannerisms and interest in Mew Mew Kissy Cutie were endearing to me, not annoying. I really loved her character in relation to Mettaton also. They very clearly play off each other. Her True Lab chapter was really interesting to me. The amalgamates were so incredibly cool and creepy, and it's probably where my interest in body horror comes from. Thanks, Toby Fox! Mettaton is a bit of a show stealer, so it's fitting he gets to intrude on Alphys' chapter here. These two are incredibly close to my heart. I think the fandom should focus on them more. They're really sweet, and Mettaton kind of doesn't seem like he cares about Alphys at first, but he so clearly does when you look into it. He isn't as self-absorbed as he seems, he just wants to make people happy, Alphys included. There's a PMV by Painted Hen that explores their relationship that I love dearly. I'll link it in the cards here, but it also moved me to tears basically every time. Alright, Asgore is an interesting character to me. He's the origin of the birds are singing, flowers are blooming line that everyone loves. He's a tragedy, but he's also kind of treated as a punchline, which is one of my few issues with Undertale. Asgore doesn't get a lot of screen time, especially in True Pacifist, and in that little time, his main personality trait is being divorced. He has a lot of depth that just isn't explored as it could be. I really love how Asgore is foreshadowed throughout the game, and I get a little bit miffed at how he's treated in the fandom sometimes. Don't get me wrong, he's definitely in the wrong in Deltarune, but come on guys. The song Asgore is way too much of a banger for you guys to keep memeing on. Can we have a moment of silence for all the times that Asgore is played and someone said, "Is this the driving in my car right after a beer song?" Thanks. Okay, now the final character I'm talking about. The first character you meet, the antagonist, Flowey the Flower. There's way too much analysis to do on Flowey than I could fit into this short segment, but I can try. Flowey is really interesting. He's a parallel to the player, honestly more of one than Kara will ever be. He's a little intimidating, and when he gets power he goes crazy, but he's kind of a coward, honestly. Like, sure, he kills Asgore on the neutral route and tries to kill everyone in the True Pacifist, but if he doesn't have the souls, he basically just runs away every time. Toriel's right, he is pitiful. This isn't even to mention the idea of without a soul you can't feel is an incredibly biased take from the most unreliable narrator in existence, and he very blatantly does feel throughout the entire game. He relishes in torturing you, he gets confused and upset when you're kind to him. He's a really, really complicated character. I love Flowey, and he's definitely my second favorite. Only losing out to Papyrus. Frankly, they're ridiculously close. So now that we've covered all the characters in unnecessary detail, let's talk about everything else, namely the music. Because while I know this is what literally everyone points out about Undertale, the music is really good. It's got such a good soundtrack that, yeah, I use it in all of my talking videos, not just this one. Honestly, I'd listened to it on its own more, but I burnt myself out on it a while back, and I want to keep its magic alive. There's so much character, it formed the exact kind of music I listen to now. Especially the game OSTs I like. It's hard to describe what exactly makes Undertale's music work, especially since I don't really know how music terminology works, but it's definitely in part due to the amount of range it has. The instrumentation is so catchy, and oh my goodness, the leitmotifs are insane. Have you guys seen those videos that outline every single instance of a given leitmotif? I used one of those as a source in an essay once. Speaking of essays, did you know I made multiple essays about Undertale? Like, I never posted them since they're for school, but the first was about leitmotifs, using Undertale as an example, and the second was about, the closest thing you can get to biology with monsters? It's just interesting to look back and know how objectively important this game has been to me, even setting aside the passion I have in my heart for it. So, this section isn't really a shout-out section, since all of these people have a bigger following than me, but I wanted to give some mentions to some of my biggest inspirations in the Undertale and Deltarune fandom. Starting with the one I've known for the longest, Man on the Internet. As a kid, I watched Man on the Internet's Undertale the Musical obsessively. It was frankly the biggest exposure I had to Undertale for a while, and it actually convinced me that Alphys was traveling with you in the True Lab for probably a few years. Then there's the Meme Monarch on Tumblr. They have some of the best interpretations of the characters I've seen, and also, they have a really great Sweet Cap and Cakes art. Not to mention their Night Kara and Death Kara theory. There is, of course, Agamemnon, the creator of Twin Runes, one of my favorite Undertale and Deltarune crossover comics too. And finally, I couldn't go through this entire video without acknowledging whose designs I'm drawing. These are the mic designs from the blog modernmouthmike on Tumblr, and while it is a pretty typical ass blog, I've been really into it recently. Could not recommend it more if you're a Battat fan. That isn't everyone who inspires me in the Undertale and Deltarune fandoms, but I'm chronically bad at remembering who I'm inspired by, so that'll have to work for now. It's kind of crazy to know that I've been loving Undertale for 10 years now. This game was a core part of my childhood, and as Deltarune progresses, I cannot wait to see what Toby has in store. Here's to another 10 years of this beautiful story. Okay, this is unscripted, but I wanted to put something at the end here. I'm so sorry that I sound congested through this entire video, if that comes out at all. I've been having seasonal allergies. Friggin' sucks. I am incredibly tired of this happening to me. Save me. I wanted to get this out on the day of the anniversary, but a lot of things came up. I was really busy, and frankly, I also kept procrastinating, and instead of working on this video like I should have, I was drawing all of the art that was in the video. I was doing a bunch of illustrations of the same character because I've been obsessing over that one blog. Help me. I don't really have much else to say. In the past few years, I've really wanted to do something for Undertale's anniversary, but what I have done has kind of either missed the day, or I just didn't really like it that much. So I kind of wanted to put a lot of effort into this video. I didn't get to put as much effort as I wanted to in here, but honestly, I'm more happy with how it's come out than I thought I would be. I know that it's not the most impressive video going over Undertale, it's not the most impressive anniversary celebration, and it didn't even come out on the right day, but I'm proud of it. Compared to my other things that I've hastily made in time for Undertale's anniversaries, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I don't know, this video just means a lot to me, and so does the game itself. I'm really happy to have experienced this game when I was a kid. I'm really happy that this game showed me so much of what I like, and I could never thank Toby Fox enough for being one of my biggest inspirations as a creator in the world. If I were to meet him, I'd probably be like, your game is really cool, thanks for making it. But he probably gets that a lot. So, I don't know what I'm talking about. In summary, remember to drink water, take care of yourself. Bye!